Hi, and welcome to Rise, Heal, and Grow. I'm Leah M. Hill. This show is a podcast production of Apollo Sunrise Center, which is a health, wellness, and spiritual retreat center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. On this show, we shine the light on those who nurture wellness and inspire positive change. My guest today is Ellie O'Leary. She is a poet, a teacher, and poet laureate Emerita of Amesbury, Massachusetts. Welcome, Ellie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. So I want to talk about your writing and the work that you do, but you actually talk about the writing that you do as a way that sort of funnels your thoughts, like helps you out of your overthinking and helps you find something meaningful when you are overthinking. Is that right?
Yes, I am definitely an overthinker. I even have a poem about being an overthinker.
You do?
Because I just constantly am making plans and talking to myself, sometimes walking down the street with my lips moving.
Really?
So I am just at it all the time. And so if I write something, especially if I write it as a poem or an essay or something, it really puts it down and sets it aside. And I can move on and worry about other things.
So it gets it out of your head.
Up and out.
Up and out of your head. So have you always been like that, or is that like since childhood? Or
Well, I've always been an overthinker. I didn't write it down and probably should have started sooner. But I've always...
that probably would have helped you.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. The things we know now.
Right. Well, I think too, I mean, I'm not experienced poet myself, but I can appreciate it when I read it. But I'm thinking, okay, so you're overthinking and you're like, okay, I've got to get this out of my head. So do the words, like the poem, actually come together, or do you just like throw everything on the paper and then figure it out later?
That's a great question, and it's a question that poets are asked a lot, because for some poets, it starts with an image or like a beautiful scene or something like that. Not me. Never. For me, it starts with a line. I will wake up with a line. I will wake up with the first line or the final line of a poem in my head.
Really?
And it always starts with a line for me.
Oh, that's so fascinating. So you start with that, and then you just expand from there, like okay, what is this line, this sentence, this line, this piece, what does it mean to me? And then you start from there?
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. I love that. And that has worked well for you.
So far.
Yes, definitely. But you also, you got an MFA degree, is that right, too? And that was, I mean, I'm sure very challenging as well.
A lot of deadlines when you do a master's degree in poetry.
Yeah. I know. What was that like for you?
It was challenging, but in a good way.
Okay.
But it meant that I couldn't think, oh, maybe I'll write a poem someday. It's like, oh, maybe I better write 5 by the weekend, because I have to be in, because I have to send them in to my mentor for the semester. And so, so it was a lot of deadlines. And I had to submit a thesis. And when I told somebody else who was doing a different genre in the MFA, I said, yeah, my thesis is 48 poems. And he looked surprised. And I says, does that sound like a lot? He said, yeah.
I would think it's a lot.
Well, it's a 2-year program. You're supposed to write stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a big commitment to make.
It was a very big commitment. And so the writing was really great, but also all the connections I made with people there that I'm still in touch with.
Oh, that's great.
That was another part of it that I hadn't really thought about until I got there. And I still have close friends and people who were mentors to me in the program. And that part is carried on. Well, I still write too, but the friendships and networking is carried on.
Right. So it sounds like, now, are you the type of writer that's like, I'm just going to write for myself and I don't care if anybody likes it? Or do you write and you're kind of like, well, especially when you're in a program like the MFA, you kind of have to want people to like it,
Somebody better like it.
Somebody. Good point.
I tend to write what I like. In my
yeah.
classes, sometimes people think that I'm going to encourage them to publish because I publish my work, but not at all. I encourage them to write. I tell, if you want to publish, I'm happy to help you figure out how to do that. But don't think that it's no good if you're not going to publish it. I want you to write in order to write so that you can enjoy the process.
Right.
If you don't enjoy the process, please find another thing to do.
Do something else, right?
Yeah, you should be able to enjoy it.
But that is really good because I think in the the field that I've been in, it's a lot of pressure on publishing and getting it out there and getting your name out there and building your platform and getting yourself known. It's a lot more of a marketing focus than it is in
there
just
is
the pleasure.
all that, and I'm caught up in all of that, and I submit my poetry knowing full well that it's almost definitely going to be rejected just because that's the way the numbers work.
Yeah.
But I don't tell people that their writings, that the writing will be considered good if somebody else likes it and gets published.
Right.
It's good if the process worked for them.
That's fantastic.
Especially in enrichment classes. I don't teach,
Yeah.
I mean, at the college level, I'm not grading people or something.
Right, right. You're just wanting, for people who want to have that experience
Yes.
and to do more of it. So you don't only write poetry, you also write memoir.
Yes. Yes.
And you teach memoir. So
and
do you
I teach
have...
memoir. Lately, I've been teaching more memoir than poetry, which is fine. I like it.
Yeah? What is the difference for you?
Well, poetry is... In poetry, there's a right or wrong. I mean, if you're doing a certain form, like a villanelle, and you don't follow the form, then you can say, well, I just made it more creative. Like, okay, fine, But if you're really trying to write a villanelle, there's a certain format, a rhyme scheme, and certain word counts and things like that.
Yeah,
but
and like a rhythm to it.
There's a rhythm to it, and there's a certain the size of stanzas, and lines repeat. And if you don't do that, then it isn't quite a villanelle. In memoir, whatever you want. Some people even include sketches.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
and fine.
You can
why
put in
not?
whenever you, because it's your story, right?
It's your story. Yeah.
So who can judge that?
Yeah. As long as you
That's good.
try to stick to the truth as you remember it.
Okay.
It may not be accurate, but try to stick to it as you remember it.
When you're writing a memoir.
Yeah.
And then if you want to take a little bit more leadway, then just write a novel, right?
Exactly.
Based on your...
Which is why my next book is going to be a collection of short stories, because the little vignettes about my childhood.
Okay.
I had, let's say, a compelling childhood worth writing about, quite difficult, and but I don't remember all the details.
Okay.
And so, I don't have to remember if I say this is a fictionalized version.
Right.
And then I put in all sorts of things that didn't happen.
Right.
Right.
And it
I guess
still
the
makes it
readers
work.
can guess which happened and which didn't.
Right. Well, that's the fun part too.
Yeah.
I think always
Yeah,
about
this is
those.
more fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about your. We could show your book. So first is the Up Home Again.
Okay,
That
this
is your memoir.
Yep. This is the memoir.
And tell us about that. What is that?
This is the story of me just sort of bottoming out. In, I think, 2004, I had been sick. I had breast cancer twice.
Oh, wow.
I was broke. I was all the things that might go wrong. Like things were just compiling. I'd been divorced, filed bankruptcy.
Oh my gosh, that's what we call the dark night of the soul.
Yes, yeah.
I would say.
So that's
all at
where the book
once.
starts.
Oh my gosh.
And then it has like flashbacks to my childhood, because what I did was to call up a friend who lived in a town near the small town, Freedom, Maine, where I grew up.
Okay.
And said, "Can I move in with you? You couldn't ask that of anybody, but I could ask that of my friend Martha."
Your friend. You had
and she
someone-
said, "Sure, no problem."
Wow.
So I just quit everything, moved up to the place I hadn't lived in for decades, moved up to the area of Maine. She lived in a different town called Monroe. And just, one foot at a time, like one step forward, do this,
One
do
step
that,
forward.
do this. And so the book mainly covers 2 years, 2004 to 2006,
Okay.
of me figuring out what I was going to do, how I was going to get healthy, how I was going to earn a living, and eventually, now all these years later, it's 20 years later, I feel fine.
Thank God, it worked. I mean,
it didn't take all 20 years.
Yeah, but I love that,
Yeah.
the baby steps or the small steps you took to get better, but they all started with you just reaching out to your friend, it sounds like. And that's a lot of courage to do that.
It was
when
a
you're
sad, difficult day for me to have to ask that.
ask for help.
But I knew which friend to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's wonderful that you had a good friend.
Yeah, well,
to
she
do
lived
that.
in a huge farmhouse and lived there alone. Like her daughter was there some of the time, so it was.
Yeah, but still, you have to give yourself that credit to.
Yeah, and it was
have taken that.
embarrassing. I mean,
I'm
I
sure.
would have preferred to have I wish I'd owned my own home. I do now, but I didn't then.
Right. Amazing story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Wow. And let's talk about your other book.
So this
Breathe
book,
Here.
yeah, this book is my poetry manuscript, and it's based mainly on those 48 poems that I wrote as my MFA thesis.
Yes,
some of them
great.
had written before and some not. And I joke that a lot of these were sent out for publication and got rejected. But I included them in my book. And then I told somebody, you know, if you want to get your poems published, just publish a book and put your poems in there, and then it's published.
Just do it.
Not quite that simple, but
Right.
that's how it worked out for me.
But that's a way to say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you want to get out there, just do it. You know, just make
Right.
it happen. Well, that's great. So for someone, I mean, I talk to a lot of people who feel like, you know, oh, I got to write a book about my life because my life is you know, so, you know, crazy, whatever. I've had so many stories, all these experiences. And, you know, I really have to write a book. I want to write a book because I think it'll help other people maybe who might be in a similar situation or might be struggling as well. Is there any advice you have for someone that's like, but I don't know where to start?
That's a question I got. Like, I've got this and this and this, and I've got all these notes, and I've got, like, you know, binders and snippets of paper, and it's like, okay, get everything off the sticky notes because they fall off.
Oh, right, yeah. Don't rely on the sticky notes.
Don't rely on the sticky notes.
That's
And to
good.
get started in the writing, start with one anecdote, one memory,
One thing.
one thing.
Okay.
And write that out. Not to perfection, but write that out.
Write it out. Okay.
And then when you get the feel for that, write another one.
Okay.
And then write a few more. And then you start having a whole bunch of things that you can connect, put them in roughly
Right.
chronological order, or
Okay.
mention that this one goes back. But just start, don't start like, I was born on this date, and just start with one anecdote. And it doesn't even have to be the biggest, the best thing that's gonna, cinch the story. Just start with one memorable event that makes you think you want to write about yourself.
Okay.
And then write about a few more.
That's really good advice. I like
Yeah.
that, because I'm thinking even if I was to do that myself, I'd think about, okay, I have to start childhood but I don't have to do that.
No. You
love
can
that.
think about something that happened to you in college. You can think about something that happened to you last week.
Right.
Just write down one.
And just write down one snippet or scene
Yep.
or whatever it
Yep.
is, and then worry about how it's going to flow later.
Yes.
The important thing is just to get it out.
I have a bunch of, I could even have brought them color-coded index cards.
Okay.
Like little snippets from one section of my life on one color, like when I was...
Really? Of your life that
Yeah.
you wrote the little scenes on?
Yeah,
or
I wrote
what
the
happened?
scenes on. And so this is mostly from the green cards, but I have like white when I was a student, yellow when I was a married wife and mother.
Oh,
and
that's
And I just put the
fantastic.
notes on the color-coded, and then I can pull them out.
That is so clever. I
You
love
can see
that.
why I might be considered an overthinker.
An overthinker. But that's so helpful for us.
Who carries their life around in a stack of color-coded index cards? I don't, because I left it home.
I know, right. But I love that. That's really good advice for, I think, a lot of people that were feeling like, like I have so much to tell, but I don't know where to start. And that's a wonderful place to start with the color-coded cards.
It's worked. I've taught workshops. I'll bring them when I'm in Apollo. I've taught workshops with the color-coded cards.
Right. So let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about your teaching. So you've taught writing since 2012.
Yes.
Including classes for adults 50 and older.
That was in Belfast, Maine. They have a thing. It's much like OSHA learning, but the UMaine system has a program called Senior College. And because I can overthink and talk myself out of things, I assumed that I wouldn't be allowed to teach there because I didn't, at that time, have a master's degree.
Okay.
And somebody said, nobody told you that. I said, "Wait, I know, but I
You just
believed
assumed it. You thought it. Okay.
And I started teaching there and had a great time. So I was teaching there. I was also teaching at a retreat center that I go to and now teach at in the Adirondacks.
Okay.
And I just kept doing it. And I only do enrichment teaching. I don't teach at the college level, even though with an MFA I probably could. I don't want to grade papers. I definitely don't want to deal with parents. Like I'm not into that at all.
I can get that.
Yeah,
Right.
helicopter parents, no
Right.
thank you. If you
Probably
don't want
much-
to write, don't be here.
Right.
Find
And probably
something
better
else.
for, like you said, the older or the people who really want to do it, that are drawn to it.
I have taught almost very few young people, almost
Okay.
all older people. But not. I didn't set out for that. It's just the way it's worked out.
Yeah. So yeah, you have a writing program coming up in August in the Adirondacks as well.
In the Adirondacks, I'll be teaching at a program called Writer Fest, and we teach at Pyramid Life Center, which is in Paradox, New York, near Fort Ticonderoga, near.
Okay.
Very
a ways,
upstate.
a ways up there.
Yeah, very upstate.
Yes.
Yeah. I also teach at a women's writing retreat there in July, but there I'm just going to be teaching a memoir workshop.
Okay.
The program in August, myself and my friend Nell organized that whole program.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a 4 or 5 hour drive because I got a lot of thinking done in the drive.
Right. You got to have your colored note cards ready in case you need to write something down.
Yeah.
And you're also offering a program at Apollo Sunrise Center.
I am.
My
first time at Apollo, and I'm so excited.
I am too. Memoir, fact or fiction. So this is going to be for people who, like we were saying, have their story to tell. They want to write their story, but they don't know, should I write it as fact, like you said, from memory, or should I turn it into a novel?
Right. And it's their choice to make as the writer. And even if they're writing memoir, they only have to be writing it as they remember it. There are memoirists who have said, yeah, I know that what I wrote is wrong. There's a woman who said, I know that snowstorm didn't happen on the date that I remembered it.
Okay.
But that's what I remember.
But that's what, okay.
And so you have a little leeway like that.
Yeah.
That's
good to know.
You can't just add in whole people you never met or things like that. And you don't have to be able to remember conversations verbatim. If you're reading a memoir and there's no dialogue, you might as well read a book about, I don't know, salt or
something a little less interesting.
There are books about salt, I shouldn't make fun, but there can be conversation, and you can be writing the conversations as you remembered them, how you reacted to them.
As you remembered them, yeah.
But you just want to make sure that it's not that you have a character speaking in a manner they did actually speak.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think that would be a very common question that people have when they're looking at that. And so for the let's say adults or older adults that you've taught over the years, for people that what have you learned or experienced from people that are just starting this later in life, let's say over the age of 50?
It's a pleasure to see them take up something that they've wanted to do but weren't going to get to it until, and then fill in the blank.
Oh, okay, that they've been putting off.
Yeah, they've been putting it off, and to see them finally get to it and have some success with it, it's just wonderful, and to be able to help them along,
Yeah.
You know what the biggest problem they have is?
What?
They try to include everything. They got to write about their life, and they want to tell you everything. And it doesn't really make for a good read.
Okay. So part of your job in the teaching role is to kind of help them pare that down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know, because I would think that they would have to.
When they first set out, they want to tell you everything that happened to them, and then when they were 15, and then when they were 16, and then they were 17, and now they're in their 70s, and this is going to be a long story.
Right. That's really good.
Yeah. So you have to help them tell me about something that changed you or mattered to you, or that you think about often now, even though it happened decades ago.
Right.
But
it's still fresh in your mind.
Please don't tell me
everything. Very good advice. It makes me think of, too, when I saw Elizabeth Gilbert years ago that wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And when I saw her speak years ago, and she said, I wrote the story by what was important in my life.
Yes.
But you also knew at the time from reading her book that she had been going through a painful divorce, but she's like, you don't know anything about him. It wasn't like I trashed my ex-husband and told you aired all the dirty laundry. It was like, she's like, I focused on this because this book was about this process. It wasn't about who that ex-husband was.
She did that very well. That book is very organized.
Yeah.
And very certain.
And it worked.
There are 3 sections: Eat, Pray
and love. Where she found love. Yeah. So that was I always thought very interesting that she chose not to go into that.
You don't have to rake. You don't have to pull all that out.
Right.
People don't really. Anybody who's been through a messy divorce wants to read, how are you doing now?
Yeah.
They don't want to relive their mess by your mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
For
really was her
example.
book. Which was her book. So, and you've held many roles in the literary world as well. So you were a poet, or you are still, right? Poet Laureate Emerita of Amesbury.
I will be Poet Laureate Emerita forever.
Forever.
Because it just means I was the Poet Laureate.
Okay.
So I was Poet Laureate for 4 years in Amesbury. It's a 2-year term, renewable once, and I'm so far the only Poet Laureate has renewed. So I'm no longer Poet Laureate, but I'm still involved with the people in the program. I left the committee because I just have so much writing and other work to do.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I
got a
was
lot
helping
going
to do
on.
it, but I thought, you people can do this without me. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. And then also you were involved with Gloucester Writers Center?
Yes, I was the education director, which makes it sound, the title's bigger than the place, actually. But it was a wonderful experience. I met a lot of people in the Gloucester area. Meeting people's really important to me. And I learned skills and all. It was really fantastic. But I live in Amesbury, and the hike to Gloucester was not really working. And I tried multiple routes.
Right.
And I had my favorite route. I went one route, and I always came home on another.
Right. The GPS will take you different ways.
Yeah.
Yes, as
and
you go back.
I'd be driving and arguing with my GPS. I am not getting on the highway again. Oh, yes, I am. Right,
right, as you're trying to do that, sure. And so it sounds like, too, throughout your literary career, you really focus on trying to, like, build community, like helping people write their stories.
When I was thinking about this question, I thought, next to my family, my literary community is really important to me. I live alone, I work alone, and I don't have 2 seconds of loneliness because I'm always talking to somebody or emailing somebody.
Oh, that's great.
And it's wonderful, and I have really, I was going to say following. I don't know that they actually follow me, but I have a large network of other writers in the Albany area, because that's much of who goes to the Adirondack Center.
Right.
In Maine, because I got my MFA at Stonecoast, and because I started teaching at Belfast Senior College, and then around the North Shore. So I have clusters of various
people that
writers that I know
your work. And I think building that community and the focus that you've put into building the community has helped you with keeping all these connections alive over the years.
It does.
I think that's great too.
It keeps the connections alive, and it also even informs my writing, because if I'm writing something, I have somebody I can send it to. Would you look at this for just a minute, please?
Yeah, that's helpful.
And they send stuff to me sometimes too.
Right. That's really helpful. That's great. And so your roots are actually in Maine, right?
Well, I lived until I was 10. I lived in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then we moved to Freedom, Maine, my parents and my brother and I. And sadly, we moved there in November of 1958. And in February of 1959, my mother passed away.
Oh.
And so I was raised after that by my father.
Wow.
Who was strict. He was from Ireland and didn't really connect with Irish American things. I was raised outside the Irish American community.
Okay.
I was raised in the old New England community.
Oh, right. Okay.
But, and then he passed away when I was 18.
Oh my gosh.
So I say to people,
very young.
Yeah, if I seem kind of independent,
I
came by
That's why you kind of, were brought up by your own bootstraps, or however you say it. Yes, I think I got that. And so writing is something that, you found keeps you alive and keeps you going.
Yes, it does. It doesn't just keep me more organized. It's also, I have more to do than the dishes.
Yes,
I have someplace to be, and I'm always working on a project. I'm working on 2 books now. One is a collection of poetry. I don't really like those poems, but we'll see. And one is the collection of short stories that I'm calling vignettes about my childhood.
Oh, okay. And so so living in these different places, growing up and having these experience of losing your parents at a young age, a very young age, how has that shaped your writing?
Well, I write about it, but I have to I'm careful not to be maudlin about it, not to be poor me, But the independence also caused me to have a different sort of life than if I had been in a closer knit, nuclear family. I also took off on my own. We mentioned the places I lived. I lived mainly in Freedom, Maine, Somerville, Mass, Amesbury, Mass, and for 1 year, I lived in Israel.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Not too many O'Learys there. But
no.
But it informed me because even in current events, I saw a newscaster stand up the other day, and my son was at my house, and I said, "Oh, he's in Kiryat Shmona. I did Ulpan there."
And you were there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that must really shape your writing. I think any kind of travel. And
it does. I travel back and forth to Ireland about once a year now, and so it does shape my writing.
Oh yeah. So you do go back quite a bit.
I do. Yeah.
To be able to explore the cultural differences and the background and everything?
Last year, my brother and I went to the O'Leary clan gathering, and we had a great time.
Really?
And we're going again this year in September.
Wonderful.
Only we're going to stay a little bit longer before and a little bit longer afterwards, so it should be fun.
That is great. So is that like one big party?
It was a bus tour of various places, but it was just, I'd never been in a room with so many people named O'Leary.
And
my brother's name is Dan O'Leary, and the tour guide on the bus was named Dan O'Leary.
Oh.
And so they announced that Dan O'Leary would be reading the tour, and my brother
was like, who?
Oh, no.
Definitely. So I can imagine. But I love how you explained that a little while ago, that you said, you live alone, you work alone, but you don't have 2 minutes of being lonely.
Yeah, I have so much to do and so much going on. And I live in a fabulous neighborhood in Amesbury, good friends.
Yeah.
I'm a little old lady. The nice guy across the street shovels up my front steps.
Oh, that's nice.
That's the kind of neighborhood it is.
Yeah. But it's so important because there are so many people who live alone and work alone and
are alone.
Are feeling
and
really
I live
lonely.
Where I do, too, because my daughter and her husband and my grandchildren are just a few blocks away. So that makes life easy.
That makes it a lot easier, yes, that you have somebody nearby. So let's say there's someone out there watching or listening today who maybe doesn't think of themselves as a writer, right? Maybe appreciates reading the poetry, appreciates reading the memoirs, but says, I just don't know how to write. Do you have any advice for someone with that kind of predicament?
Yes, I was like that because I thought if you were a writer, you'd already know it. Somebody would have pointed to you and think, oh, well, that's good writing. You must be a writer.
Yeah, that's the way
But if you want to write because you want to exercise those muscles, then see what you're reading that you really like.
What you're reading that you really like.
Really like. And read some more of that and try or something similar to that, whether it's poetry or prose, and then try writing something in that vein or in the same topic. Some people write about horses.
Good advice.
I know nothing about horses.
Okay.
I know they have 4 legs. People put saddles on them.
Right.
But other people might really. I have a good friend who writes about horses. I have a few friends from the Albany area who write about horses, and dogs. People love to write about dogs.
Right.
Write about something and try to write in a similar fashion to some writing you really enjoy.
That's very good advice. Yeah.
Without plagiarizing, because you have to write about your dog, maybe.
Yeah.
Or a dog you love.
But still, to get the, some of the phrases, right?
Yes.
To get the rhythm,
timing,
the flow of it, and even the grammar too. If you feel like you're not a good writer because you don't know how to spell, you can read more and learn from that.
If you have trouble with that sort of stuff, just keep writing.
Don't
keep
stop
doing and correct. Don't correct every sentence as you write it. Just get it out. Just do what some people refer to as the vomit draft. Just get it out. Just keep going.
I like that. I've not heard that. Except for people like me that have like 3 versions of the vomit draft that we haven't quite got out yet. But that's great. So what else would you like to share? You have the vignettes coming up. They're coming out soon, or?
They're not finished yet. But they will most likely go with my publisher, North Country Press, who was based in Unity, Maine, next to Freedom, where I grew up, and now my friend Gary took it over from Swans Island, Maine. And so anything that I have, I will always run by North Country Press first.
Okay, got it.
And he hasn't said, yes, I want to publish it, but he hasn't said no. And he can't say, yes, he wants to publish it because I'm nowhere near done.
Oh, because
that would be unfair.
right. He's got to give you a little time first.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So if someone out there watching or listening wanted to get your books or connect with you or learn about what you're doing, how do they find you?
I am very easy to find because I set this up early. My email is ellieoleary@gmail.com.
That's very easy.
No capitals, because it's Gmail, no capitals. In this case, I'll let you leave out the apostrophe because it's required.
Yeah.
ellieoleary@gmail.com.
No apostrophe.
No, you don't have to put it in because you can't in the Gmail address.
Right.
And my website is ellieoleary.com.
That's very simple.
www.ellieoleary.com. So I got in soon enough to get that sort of
Good
stuff
for
in
you.
my own name, yeah.
That's right. It's probably worth a lot now, too, with all the O'Learys out there. Probably. And they can also get your books and look up your books on the site as well.
Yep, they can look up those books. I can tell them how to get them from the publisher or any online chains that they want to go to. Or all the books I have at my house are signed. I'll just put them in an envelope and mail it to them.
Oh, nice.
Once they send me a check.
Yes, very nice. So great. Well, thank you for being on the show today, Ellie. This was
loved
great.
it. This
I
is
have
fun.
too.
This is fun.
So it's fun, and I love the advice that you shared. I think it's very practical and relatable for so many people that want to delve into writing and just don't know how to do it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, all of you, for watching or listening here today on Rise, Heal, and Grow with Leah M. Hill. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you're joining us on today. And join us again soon because we have lots more episodes coming up.